everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taco Matta Tuesday, the show where we eat healthy, delicious tacos and have conversations about life. Courage is being scared to death, but choosing to saddle up and ride anyways. I hope what you hear when I say that is that fear is allowed to be in the car with you. In fact, it's pretty probable that fear will be in the car with you during most situations in life. It's just not allowed to drive. You get the opportunity to be in the driver's seat and to choose to drive the car that you're in right now and acknowledge fear, but not let it dictate your life and instead choose courage instead. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into the topic of conversation, let's go ahead and talk about the taco of the week. So Dave and I, and if you don't know who Dave is my man friend. For those of you that follow me on social, clearly know who Dave is. But Dave, he has a name. He is a man that has a name. We did an impromptu date night the other night. We had a very, very exciting shipment of Kansas City steaks come in, and we were like, yo, we're cooking tacos tonight. And so this week's taco is our date night taco recipe that we use. It's super simple, but I wanted to at least share the steak company that we use because they're very reputable. It's very tasty, super high quality meat, a little bit on the pricier side, but healthy and delicious for sure. Bang for your buck. So if you're interested in having a very fun, delicious, different sort of date night taco, be sure to check out the show notes before you leave the episode today. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into today's topic, which is all about stories of courage. This morning, I walked into the gym, and I was talking to one of the other trainers there, and I asked him how he was doing, and I could tell that something was up. And he said, well, I just spent the entire weekend in the hospital with my wife and my newborn, and we just found out that he has a hole in his heart, and he's going to have open heart surgery. And kiddo is like maybe a couple weeks old at most, and so just hearing that, like, truly, it just saddened my heart so much. And, like, in that moment, like, saying sorry, it's never enough. It will never cut the pain. It will never actually allow for them to feel peace, you know, and I think that's all we ever want in those moments, right? But if there was anything that I could have walked away from that moment giving him, it was courage, right? Courage to stand up to the situation and know that he was strong and capable to handle whatever it is that came on the other side. And essentially what I told him was, hey, I know that this is going to sound off, and I don't want this to be offensive in any way, but there is a very special reason behind this. And I don't want this to sound like, well, you know, the world or the universe is picking on you. I want you to think of, there is a reason that the universe is doing this for your son, and that he could go on to do something absolutely incredible. You guys as parents can go on to do absolutely something amazing by just simply navigating the waters here and the best attitude, the best perspective possible. And who knows, he could go out to change the world and impact so many other people that are going to have to deal with this situation in the future. And so just by giving him those words alone, I could see just a little bit of joy, a little bit of peace of, like, you know, that's just such a great way to approach this. Is we can't change the situation, but we can change how to react to it. And the best way to react to it is with courage, right? And realizing that there is a reason, there is a lesson, and I can choose to, again, learn it and navigate it in the best way possible, and think of, okay, how can, in this really odd, screwed up situation, how can this be a gift, and how can we make it the best possible thing for us? It's I think the best way to try and navigate life. And so all of that to say, I just wanted to share that. All of that to say is it made me want to talk about just 3 really incredible, relevant stories to my life that have allowed for me to build this courageous, unstoppable attitude towards whatever life throws my way, recognizing that I know that every situation's different. It's not always going to be easy. And yes, I'm a human. I'm going to feel, I'm going to get knocked down, but it's the ability to get back up and keep trucking, right? And so I just felt, after talking to Jason this morning, just felt really inspired to share a couple of those stories, and more importantly, not just the stories, but the lessons that I learned and what it ultimately brought to my life, so that if you're navigating something similar, or you just need a slice of joy, a little bit of sunshine in your life, to realize that yes, life is hard, but we can choose to see it and navigate it in a different way. I'm just hoping that this podcast can at least resonate and be impactful for you in that way. So with that being said, let's get on to the first story, which I couldn't leave this story out. And I know that I share it quite often. I know if you listened to the podcast last week, which was an awesome podcast as well, it was my guest interview with Richard Connard from the Inspire to Run podcast. And so you guys did get to hear this story. And I know many of you have heard my story over and over and over again. And some of you will never get sick of it. But for those of you that don't know and are listening to maybe this show for the first time, I used to be a completely different person. I was, a couple years ago, going, end of 2018 going into 2019, I was 205 pounds overweight in a very toxic relationship, just completely depressed and lethargic, living my life on the couch. And that was a seriously dark time in my life, especially when I grew up being a competitive dancer and softball player. I just had all of this joy and sunshine to give. And over the years of going, from high school to college into my corporate career, I lost a little bit of who that was. And I don't want to go through what caused that and the little bits and pieces. There's several of other podcasts where I talk more about the deep ends of my story. But, I wanted to fast forward to the part where, okay, I lost the weight. And at this point in my life now, it's like, 2019, we're getting ready to actually go into 2020, which is the pandemic year. And my mom came up to me and said, "Hey, Kayla, like, if I was strong and healthy like you, if I had just went on this huge journey, I would totally get into this like ninja warrior stuff, right? And see what it is that you're capable of doing." And so, of course, when she mentioned that, we went to a festival here in Thornton a couple weeks later, and there was a Ninja Warrior course, and they were doing like course runs. And there was so much fear inside of me, just like trying that thing. I was like, I don't want to embarrass myself. What if I suck? Like, I was excited and I wanted to have fun, but then the self-doubt creeps in and you start to question yourself. And I didn't want to put myself through that. I wanted to let fear win, but I didn't. And I stepped up to the starting line and I ran the course a couple of times, and I had so much fun. Like, when you are on the ninja course, you guys, there is nothing else that you think about. You are just totally present and totally in it. And the challenge just feels freeing. It feels like you truly are living, which is one of the many reasons that I love ninja is for that, and the ability to celebrate the fact that I can do a lot of this stuff, right? So anyways, all of that to say, now you guys know my career as far as from that moment forward. I went to a ninja gym a week later, and I never stopped training ever since. And in fact, I got a Google Photos memory the other day from 5 years ago, from my first time ever running up the warp wall at Flow Vault, which is the gym that I now work at here in Thornton. So I started there as a client, ended up, again, leaving my corporate job, started my own health and wellness business. And then in the mix of that, ended up started coaching for them. And so it's just crazy to think that I've been doing this now for 5 freaking years. But my life completely changed in that moment. And I hope through that story of courage alone to not only make the decision to leave the toxic relationship, to choose to turn my health and my life around, to go through the ups and downs of a weight loss, health and wellness journey, to then honestly, like I left my corporate career, I threw 6 figures away and started my own business. And then I got caught up in this Ninja Warrior world with not only being an athlete, but coaching, just by merely making a decision to try and run a course at a little tiny festival here in Thornton. Like, those little moments of courage led to the woman that you see today. And the biggest lessons that it taught me was that you will never be able to contribute and make the impact that you want to make if you don't first give that love to yourself. The amount of people that I have been able to impact, whether it's been through my training that I do in the personal training, health and wellness world, to the podcasting that I do, to just the coaching, right? Everything that I do, quite honestly, I never could have ever reached my potential as to where I'm at even just now if I didn't go back and make that initial decision to first show that love and commitment to myself by keeping those tiny promises of I'm going to just choose to move my body for 2 minutes during my lunch hour, and then I'll do 2 minutes in an hour from now, or I'm just going to choose to feed my body with the best foods that I can during 1 meal a day, and then I'll try and make it up to 2 meals maybe in a couple of months, right? Like, it's those small little promises and decisions that I made to myself that were super uncomfortable, but exactly where it is that I was supposed to be. It was all of those things, those little moments of courage that allowed for me to truly make the impact that I'm making today and to contribute to the world and to my life that I really want to and the way that I want to. So there's that lesson. And then the second lesson it honestly taught me is just the fact that Ninja changed my life, and that getting involved in that, it allowed for me to change my relationship with fear and realize that discomfort is where the best of life is lived and where you get the most out of it. And so I hope that that goes to show you that those moments where you feel like you got the bubble guts or you feel like your stomach might fall out your butt nonetheless, that those are the moments where you're exactly where it is that you're supposed to be. And that is your body telling you that you are here. This is it. This is that next step of the level up that you're truly looking to take and experience. It simply comes down to a choice of just taking one step forward and realizing that you are going to be strong enough to handle no matter whatever it is. Truly, you will be strong enough to handle whatever it is that's on the other side of it. So that was the first story of courage I wanted to share. The second story that I wanted to share was a little bit more recent, within the last 6 to 8 months. And it was when I decided to make the decision to go all in on DECA. And I know I talk a lot about that here on the podcast. It's just the thing that I'm obsessed with and want to be really good at. It's the thing that makes me tick. So last year, I would say it was in April, after I had got done with filming my second season of American Ninja Warrior, and I was kind of looking for what was next, and I did my second DECA race, my second DECA Strong ever, I just realized, I was like, I think I could be really good at this, and I think I'd really like to go after qualifying for Worlds. And I ended up doing that in my third or fourth race that I'd ever done, and I was like, okay, I could either stop here and just like kind of float into World Championships, or I could shoot for a really big, hairy, audacious goal, and I could try and go for elite in my very first season. And that's what I did. And unfortunately, I did not. I was like a minute and a half off of like the last qualifying time from the top 20 times that they took. But it was just an awesome experience because it still allowed for me to go to Worlds with this incredible training and this fresh new perspective on the sport. And it was there that I was able to experience and, I guess, not really formally meet, but I got the opportunity to watch Kevin Gregory, who is now currently my coach, and the Underdog Fitness team, which is the team that I'm a part of. I got to watch them completely take the World Championships by storm. And it wasn't the mere fact of the results that they produced that attracted me to the team, because obviously people will pay for results. What attracted me to the team was the passion, and it was the genuine care that each and every member had for each other. And it started at the top with Kevin and Jess, how they led their team, how they were there for every single person. It just, you could feel it. It's not only something that you saw and you admired, but you could feel it deep to your core. And I just remember watching Kevin from afar, from how he, treated his athletes, how he interacted with his teammates, and then how he raced himself, again, with just all of this passion and joy. And I was like, that is someone that I want in my circle. And that's the kind of racer, athlete, whoever that I want to be. And so I felt truly convicted to reach out to this man and be like, hey, I know that I am like close to no one. I am like a nobody in this sport. I literally just started, and I did fairly well for my first year ever. But I was terrified, you guys, terrified to reach out to him. But at the same time, I was also like, what do I have to lose besides the opportunity to actually get where it is that I wanted? So I courageously, the next day after we were all finished with the weekend, that Monday morning, as I was flying out, I reached out to him on Instagram and was like, look, you don't know me. I didn't get a chance to meet you. And I'm sure your inbox is freaking flooded right now with so many messages, but I just feel very compelled to be in your circle because of XYZ reasons that I've already explained. And if you're open to training someone virtually, I would absolutely love to work with you. And he immediately messaged me back, set up a call, and it's all history from there. I've been working with him, but since December, from my first couple of workouts working with him in December to officially becoming one of his podium chaser athletes on his competitive team in February timeframe, maybe it was January. In the last 6 to 7 months of working with him, I went from a 1442 and not believing in myself fully. I knew that I could, but I really didn't show up to race day fully believing that I had the chops to actually go and put up an incredible time to one day make this elite wave. I went from having that in December to now in June. I just closed up the month of June with 2 new records. The 4th place fastest time on the DECA Strong female board, qualifying for the elite wave for 2024 in my 2nd season of DECA ever. And I am just like flying high. I'm able to train other athletes now. I have more of an idea of what it takes to really be good in the sport. And I'm able to pass that down to some of the people I train here online and locally. It's just been absolutely incredible. But I shared that specific story because I knew that if I wanted to reach my full potential, I had to open myself up to help and allowing to someone to truly pour the belief into me that I struggled to pour into myself. They say that, you could go at it fast alone or you can go far together. And I couldn't agree more with that because once I joined the Underdog Fitness team and I trusted Kevin and I just allowed for him to guide me in this process, I have gone so far in just the first 6 months of the year. And I truly believe, and I'm putting this out there in the universe now, and this is because I've allowed myself to open up this gate to help. I truly feel in my heart that I have the opportunity to not only race elite this year, but potentially even beckon for the podium. I feel that deep down in my freaking gut and in my soul. And that's a big one to drop, right? There's a lot of big names. There's a lot of talented athletes in this space. But that is what opening myself up to help has allowed for me to build. So I hope that inspires you in the moments where you're like, I feel like I really want help with training. I feel like I really need a second opinion, whatever it is, right, that you might be up against. I hope that gives you the courage that whatever might require you to, whatever it might be, that it might require you to let go of some of those excuses, to let go of some of those fear or boundaries or obstacles around financial situations or time. Just to let that go and to truly trust the process and open yourself up to what's to come. And again, knowing that you're going to be able to handle the situation, whatever comes on the other side. So there's that. The last story of courage that I wanted to share today was also quite recently, within the last, I'd say 2 to 3 months though. I recently competed at a Cirrus Fitness competition called Cirrus Bricks. And this is something I've never done before. In fact, I would very much say that it is like a step down from CrossFit, just less disciplines that they test through. But what they truly believe is that a well-rounded athlete is an athlete that is speedy, that has endurance, that can be agile, aka ninja, and that is strong. And so I looked at this competition of like, wow, like I'm actually feeling fairly well-rounded, but I'm scared because I don't do a lot of these things that they do here at this gym, and I might get eaten alive and I might embarrass myself. And I remember the gym owner coming up to me and being like, hey, I really think you should give this a shot, not just because obviously for business, but I really think that you could not only do well, but I think you could win the whole thing. And so I took the I took the belief, I borrowed the belief from somebody else, and I pressed, the sign up button, gave my money away, and was like, all right, here goes nothing. And I competed in my first ever Brix, and what came of it was 3 out of 4 event wins in the Open, 3 out of 4 event wins in the semifinals, and I ended up winning the championships and claiming the title of the Cirrus Brix Female Open Champion. And it was the coolest thing. I got to do so many things that I've never done before. I got to meet so many incredible people. Like, it truly put me in such a different zone of discomfort that I've never been in before. And I loved every single moment of it, from what I learned, again, to like who I met. And here's the really special thing about this, you guys, is through this whole process, I had the opportunity to meet my current training partner and now my boyfriend that I absolutely adore with all of my heart, Dave. And it has just been like the most magical thing, right? And I could chalk all of this up to, the real reason that I felt this tug and this pull to just do it. Even after I borrowed the belief from Chris, I was still a little nervous about signing up, but there was just this tug and this pull to do it. I truly believe that was the universe saying, there's more than you know on the other side. There's more than just the physical fitness and the becoming the grand champion on the other side. There is someone who is genuinely going to take care of you and see you for who you are and everything that you are, and is going to bring so much joy and happiness to your life. And that is an understatement to what this man has brought to my life in just a short amount of time since I met him in February and we started just randomly training together. We both won the championships together. It has just been absolutely insane, and come to find out that he was actually questioning whether or not he wanted to do Cirrus Brix this year, but there was just something that was telling him that it was the better decision. And so I truly believe that was the universe speaking to both of us, that again, there was something bigger and better on the other side. And it was this opportunity to create these relationships with others and with each other specifically, and to now have this relationship that is the best thing that I've ever been a part of, where we're spending hours talking about our dreams and our goals and laughing until we cry and dancing like goofballs and doing Lord knows what. But it's just been like the absolute best thing that's come to my life for sure this year. And so all of that to say, I think the lesson to be learned from this is that you might do something for a particular reason and you might expect a certain outcome, but what comes from it could be totally different, but was 100% meant to be. And so as you choose to lean into courage and not into fear, and you do something, you might expect for something to happen, for things to go a completely different direction. I'm asking you, from what I've learned through this situation, to just be open, be very open-minded, be very open-hearted to what comes, and realize that it is exactly what it is that was meant to be. And I just hope that if you're facing in one of those situations, whether you're scared to jump in or you're ready to jump in and you just need to like press the freaking button and do it, that like this story alone gets you to press the freaking button, because you really truly don't know what's on the other side. But what is on the other side could completely change your life, just like it changed mine in so many different ways. So that is that. Those are my 3 stories of courage that I wanted to share with you guys, and what came from them and the lessons that were learned. And I just want to end this by saying, regardless of the situation that you're navigating, I can truly promise you that there is good and there are several blessings in each of these situations just waiting to be acknowledged. Give yourself that gift of seeing those and allowing them to be the fuel to your fire that gives you the courage to handle whatever comes next. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today, and I hope that this episode truly impacted you. If you feel like these stories are something that could truly impact someone else, please be sure to share this podcast with your friends and family. Rate and review the podcast if you have not already, and have a great freaking week, you guys. I'm so stoked. Welcome to July. We are now officially halfway through the year. This is such an awesome episode to explode from and make the last 6 months of the year the absolute best, because you're choosing to lean into courage rather than fear. So go out there, attack it, you guys, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of Taco About It Tuesday. See you then.